So whether you're a developer, a cybersecurity pro, or you're just trying to get serious about the command line, there's one skill you absolutely have to have: being able to quickly look at and pull data from files. And today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to master the tools that let you do just that. Okay, so picture this. You're a security analyst, or maybe a programmer trying to squash a bug. You're staring down a massive log file or some super complex source code. You know the clue you need is buried in there somewhere. But here's the catch. There's no fancy graphical interface, no search bar, nothing. It's just you and that blinking cursor. How in the world do you find that needle in a digital haystack? Well, what if I told you that you already have a whole toolkit just waiting for you? They're simple, they're lightning fast, and they're already built right into pretty much every Linux system on the planet. So yeah, today we're going to master them. All right, let's start with the basics. These are the commands you'll be using day in and day out just to peek inside files. Think of them as your digital magnifying glass, your binoculars, and your reading glasses, all for the command line. First up is cat. It's short for concatenate. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like a fire hose. You point it at a file and whoosh, the whole thing just dumps right onto your screen. It's awesome for small files, but for the big ones, well, let's just say it can be a lot. Okay, next up, we've got a command with a pretty clever name, talk. It's literally cat spelled backwards, and that is exactly what it does. It shows you the entire file, but it starts from the very last line and works its way up to the top. And this is super useful for stuff like log files, where all the newest information is right at the very bottom. So what happens when cat is just way too much, like for a huge file? Well, that's when you reach for something called a pager. The two big ones are less and more. And this is kind of funny. Less is actually more powerful. It lets you check out a file page by page, and you can scroll forwards and backwards. More is the older, simpler version, and it pretty much only lets you move forward. But what if you don't even need the whole file? What if you just want a little peek? That's where head and tail come in. Head just shows you the first few lines, which is perfect for checking a file's header or some initial settings. And tail, well, you can probably guess. It shows you the last few lines. This is your absolute go-to for checking the latest thing that happened in a log file. All right, enough theory. Let's actually see these things work. I've got a sample file here, and we're going to see exactly what the output looks like for each one of these tools. I promise, this is where it all really starts to click. So for our demo, we're going to use this simple text file I made called ashish.txt. It's just full of some random text, a few names, some numbers, basically enough stuff so we can see how each command handles the output. Okay, first up, the fire hose. We type cat ashish.txt and bam, the whole thing top to bottom just gets blasted onto our terminal. Like I said, for a tiny file like this, no big deal. But imagine a file 1,000 times bigger. It would just be a meaningless blur. All right, now let's get some control back. Let's try head. See that? Big difference, right? Instead of everything, we just get the first couple of lines. We can immediately see what's at the start of this file without all the extra noise. This just goes to show how important it is to use the right tool for the right job. And of course, if we do the opposite with tail, we get just the very end of the file. See that? The number 3 and the names Rahul and Ajay. This is exactly what you'd want if this was a log file and you just needed to see the last few things that happened. And for the last little trick here, let's use tack. Whoa, look at that. The whole file is completely flipped on its head. Ajay, which was the very last line, is now the first, and hi, how are you, the original first line, is now sitting at the very bottom. It's a really simple idea, but man, is it a powerful trick. Okay, so viewing files is great and all, but what about actually searching inside them? This is where we level up. We're going from just looking at stuff to actually digging for clues. We're about to link these simple tools together to make something way more powerful. And the secret ingredient for all of this is the pipe symbol. This little vertical bar is seriously one of the most powerful ideas on the command line. Think of it like a piece of plumbing, a connector. It takes everything that comes out of the command on the left, and it funnels it or pipes it straight into the command on the right without ever hitting your screen. And what are we going to pipe all that data into? We're going to use grep. Grep is basically your search engine for the command line. You just tell it what you're looking for, and it will comb through whatever you feed it and show you only the lines that have that text. So here's the magic, right? It's all about how they work together. Check out this command, cat ashish.txt grep echo. So step 1,
Cat reads the whole file, but, and this is the key part, instead of showing it to us, that little pipe symbol grabs all that text and shoves it over to the next command. So now all that text becomes the input for grep, which then just sifts through it all and only pulls out the line with the word echo.
And here's the result. Out of all that text in our file, that simple combination of cat and grep just instantly pinpoints the one single line we cared about. No more scrolling forever, no more squinting at the screen. You just get a perfect instant answer. Now that is the power of the command line.
So there you have it. In just the last few minutes, you've basically gained a new superpower. You can now go from staring at a blank terminal to actually peering inside any text file on your system and pulling out exactly what you need.
So let's just recap real quick. You now know how to view any text file using tools like cat and tack. You can control exactly how much you see with head, tail, and less. And probably the most important part, you can now chain these tools together with the pipe and grep to create some seriously powerful searches. Honestly, this is the foundation for almost all scripting and automation you're going to do. So I'll leave you with this one question. You literally have the keys now to unlock all the secrets hidden inside countless config files,